gosh, y'all, we are so hyped to be here. You are listening to the first ever episode of The Period Feels. I'm Nadia.
I'm also Nadia, but I go by Nettie.
I'm Sam.
And we're your hosts, and we're so excited for this. This has been many, many months in the making. Okay, so here's how this is gonna work. Every single Tuesday, we'll be dropping a new episode of The Period Feels, and every episode will be built around a question from our Inner Cycle community. If you're not already part of the community, you can go to our website, itsaugust.co, click on Join Inner Cycle, and join us there. Anyway, so our community members will be sending in questions, and we'll hear directly from them, and then spend the episode trying to find the right answers. Okay, big question. Where do we even start? Well, I started August with Nick in early 2020, but I definitely think that it's been many, many years in the making. I'm 24 years old now, and 12 years ago, I got my first period. I was 12 years old, and I got it right before I got on an airplane to go visit my dad, who was definitely not the most period positive and friendly. So I remember getting my first period, and even though I knew what a period was, I had a mom who was very open about periods. When you first look down at your underwear and you see like brown blood, you either think that you shit yourself or you feel like you're bleeding out. And I think I was kind of like in the middle of those two things. And so for me, I think that my period, as like the oldest of 3 daughters and like an all-girl household, periods were always top of mind. But I was also the type of person who always liked talking about the things nobody else like was supposed to talk about. So I got suspended like in kindergarten for teaching all my friends how babies were made, and I was always really curious and asking a lot of questions in sex ed, and obviously with periods being so stigmatized, it was something that I was always kind of thinking about. And then when I was 16, I learned about period poverty and entered this journey of running a nonprofit for 6 years called Period, currently still going on as period.org, and we were focused on distributing period products to people who needed them and really working on legislative advocacy as well. And honestly, I did that for 6 years, and by the end, I was also doing like Gen Z marketing and kind of found myself in a position where I was working with every period brand, either as a nonprofit partner, as an influencer, or as a consultant. And I think in getting to know these brands, I really started to see where the gaps were, right? Seeing like, okay, these brands are afraid to say the word period. They're saying like time of the month or Aunt Flo or Mother Nature's gift. And I think at the same time too, seeing the gaps in how the products could be better, right? Learning that most pads take 5 to 8 centuries to decompose, but really figuring out that there did exist materials where we could make a pad that was fully biodegradable within 12 months. And so I think it was just a mix of all of these different things of feeling like, okay, we need to talk about periods more openly. I do think that brands have the responsibility to give back to society as well in this capitalist economy. And also at the same time that we could make better period products. So in early 2020, during my junior year of college, me and my best friend Nick got together. I told him about this idea. He was on board, and we decided to leave our other jobs and embark on this journey. And I would say that it was pretty isolating and like just the two of us for maybe like 8 months. And then we slowly started on like bringing on close friends that we were just really excited to work with. And then just kind of trying to raise money and trying to really figure out what this company was going to be. And a year and a half later, we launched with our first group of tampons and pads. So I think for me, it was very much like my journey to August was like obsessing over periods, a lot of my teenhood, working in the period space. And then August is kind of like the product of I think many years of dreaming about like this next iteration of advocacy in this space. And our first ever full-time team member beyond me and Nick was Neddy, who's sitting to my left. Neddy, tell us about your journey to August.
It's a little bit of a whirlwind. I think like what you said, when you had this idea, you were kind of drawn to August, you quit your other jobs. I think I had just graduated, and the moment I got on the phone with you guys, I kind of felt like very swept up in this like wonderful idea. I think a lot of other people that work for August or talk to us on the phone can kind of feel the energy of August, that there's something special here. So for those of you that don't know, I'm a double major in political science and comms. I had just graduated when I was introduced to August. And it was just a lot of weird signs from the universe, I would say. I was about to just like try and get out of here. It was like right before COVID. I'm Malaysian and I wanted to go see my family in Malaysia. And the night before, I was like looking at flights online. I was like, I'm gonna get out of here. I'm gonna go backpack, whatever. And my dad's girlfriend walks in the room and goes, hey, do you know someone named Nick Jane? And I was like, yes, I do. Why do I know someone named Nick Jane? And I went on my Facebook, and it said that we were Facebook friends. And I looked at his picture, and I went, oh my God, he was college summer camp roommates with my ex-boyfriend. So I had known Nick through FaceTiming my boyfriend at his summer camp, and Nick would just be in the background like, hello, like whatever, and like we vaguely had exchanged a couple of words. And then so my dad's girlfriend's a part of like a mentorship program, and she said, I got off the phone with this just absolute dynamo of like a person, you have to meet them, and here's the kicker, she has the same name as you. And I was like, all right, if I was waiting for signs from the universe, I think that's kind of like I need to get on this phone call and at least entertain this idea. I think I was on the phone with you 20 minutes before you were like, you want a job or what? Yeah. And I was like, wait, okay. She's like, when can you start? And I had a trip to Oakland, I think the next day, and I was like, I'll be back like Tuesday. She's like, all right, great, you start Tuesday. And I remember hanging up the phone, and I have this selfie somewhere on my computer where I like sent my friends a picture of me like, what? Like, I think I just got a job. And so I went for this trip, and like the whole time I was still kind of like emailing back and forth and setting everything up. Got back on Tuesday and jumped right in. Like, I think I took over like social media like 2 days later, and it kind of just felt like a very it was meant to happen scenario. And like, I can't believe when people ask me today what the story was, I'm like, I don't even know how to explain this to you. It was a complete chance, and I'm just like so happy that I took that chance with you guys.
I feel like it was just so serendipitous too, because like Nadia is not a common name,
and not with the spelling.
Yeah, especially like Nadia with a Y. Like you're the first person I've ever met, and I remember I got off the phone with you, and I was like, Nick, I love her energy, and Nick was like, so like, what's her experience? And I was like, no, she went to college, and I need to check back on that, but I just really liked her energy, and I have a feeling this is gonna be good. Like. And we had talked to all these people who were kind of interested, and it was just like a total vibe check thing. And your experience, and also your excitement about the mission, and I remember you talking about sustainability, and I was like, yes, absolutely. And it was just so crazy to like someone with the same name, and the awkward part was then having to email you and be like, do you have a nickname you could go by? Because I'm OG Nadia, like, not seriously, but I was also like, or I could take a nickname, but like my nickname is Nod, so like, it was a lot. Weird. But okay, one question, just so you can fill in the audience too. Were you always passionate about periods, or was it very much like something that was new with August? Do you have an interesting first period story?
I do. I was going to say that I guess I can give an interesting story. Was the first time I posted my period on August. I come from like, my mom's family's Muslim. Like, I come from very like a closed family about periods. Like in Islam too, like you don't even fast and everything on your period. I don't even think I said the word period out loud very often in general. And there's something about being in August for like 2 minutes where you go from, I've never said the word period to my friend, to let me just post my used tampon on Instagram. And that's exactly what happened. But I think back in the day, the idea behind the post was, how can I ask other people to share their period stories and send me a picture of their tampon or talk about their period when I haven't like kind of had that same disclosure with all of y'all. So I pulled out my tampon. It's still on the feed if you want to scroll way down. And it's like hashtag I resisted sharing this on my period. And that was like the first kind of like unpacking moment where I was like, dang, like I couldn't click post. I was like, this is a lot. But now that I've done it, I think that like that was a very big letting go moment for me. And also now, if people are ever like, oh yeah, but you don't, yeah, I do. Go look. Right. And also, I recently had a viral TikTok too with my period blood in the shape of a heart. You can go check that out.
That was so
Happy
cute.
Valentine's Day from my period.
What about you, Sam?
I never like openly talked about periods. I grew up, my mom's pretty like strict, traditional. She's half French, half Lebanese. So like you don't really talk about like sex or periods or anything. You kind of just like know, and then like you go on with your life, but it's like nothing is discussed. But I know I was working for this artist who should not be named, but it was a really toxic work environment, and I basically like started this coup at this job, and like everyone just like left. and I was out of a job, and then I was talking to my friend Gray, who's mutual friends with Nadia, and in Gray we trust. Gray always is like, she knows, like, she just knows like the right people, she knows like the right thing, like she always
she's
is like
the plug.
Yeah, she's like the
Truly.
plug. You like, if you need help, like she could dig you out of a shitty situation, and she helped me like in that shitty job situation. But she told me about Nadia, and she's like, Nadia is like awesome, you know, her sister Amaya, like she's starting this startup and it's about periods, like go on to Geneva and just start typing, like just start chatting. And I was like, okay. And then Gray connected us, and like I feel like the next day Nadia emailed me, and I was like, oh shit, okay, that was fast. And then she's quick, because like she like emailed me like the next day. Then the next day she was like, let's like get lunch or something, and we met at this cafe, and it didn't even feel like an interview. It kind of just felt like you were just like, yo, like what's up, like what do you do? And I was like, I am not an expert. I like know literally nothing about this space. I didn't even know this space existed. Like I was like, I'm gonna work at this art gallery. Like that's like my experience is like in art. So like I had no idea. But I remember I was reading this article about this Black woman who was saying how she went to the doctor and like they weren't listening to her, and like she found out she had endometriosis, and like that article like shook me, because obviously I'm Black, so I'm like, that could have easily been me. And then Gray was like telling me more about the mission of August, and then I was like, okay, I'm gonna like look into this. And like I just felt like it was awesome, and it like brought me out of this space of being so like closed off of like talking about sex and periods and things like that. And Nadia was also so cool. Like when we met, it was just like, I don't know, we just like chatted for a while, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna do this. And then now I'm here, and I'm happy I'm here, because I feel like I've learned so much, like business wise, but also like education wise, and like about my own health and stuff like that. And our team is fucking awesome.
Okay, so when I met you the first time, I was so nervous.
Why?
Because I remember looking at your Instagram, and you were just so cool, and like I am the lame one in my family, like you know, my sisters and our
No, you're
but like I feel that
you're literally not.
But like I think I feel that way. So I remember looking at your Instagram, and like, you know, I just thought you were so cool and so artsy, and I still do.
Nadia always tells me, she's like, we would have never been friends in high school,
because
Sam.
I'm like the funny one in the library.
You're like, my friends would describe me as anxious. I'm like, no, I had no idea you were anxious till you told me. You're so,
like get on a Zoom
forward.
call with Nadia, and she's like fully like boom, 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 boom. Whereas Nettie and I are like on the Zoom call, and it's like animated blinks. Like you can hear our blinks, because it's like so awkward.
Well, I think Zoom calls is like where I feel the most confident. Anyways, okay, but I also remember talking to you, and I was like, you know, what would you do if you like weren't with August? Like, what are you maybe thinking about? And I remember you talking about grad school too.
Yeah. Well, my parents were pushing grad school onto me. They still are.
Same here.
But I'm yeah, like strict family. My mom's like, what are you doing? Like my mom doesn't, like she doesn't really understand what I'm doing still. Like she kind of does, but she like still doesn't get it. But yeah, I was gonna go to grad school. I was gonna move to France, like fully got accepted into the American University of Paris, like fully was gonna do that. But then I was like, fuck it. Like it was also COVID times.
Yeah.
It was also COVID
energy.
times. Yeah. I felt the energy and like it felt right.
Okay, and what's your relationship with your period? Like, when did you get your first period? Do you have a fun period story?
I don't think my period story is fun. I got my period in Canada. I was visiting my grandma, and like my grandma's super strict. Like you don't talk about certain things. Like I could joke about something, and my grandma will be like, bitch, no, like don't say that. Like you don't talk about that out loud. But I got my period, and also like as a kid, I was pretty like mute, like not mute, but like I was very shy. Like
Really?
even to my family, like I would like barely like talk to my family. I was like really to myself. But I got my period, and I literally thought I was like dying. Like that was like the point in my life too, where I was like, peak hypochondriac. Like I was scared, always scared I was gonna die. I was always thinking about death. Like I don't know why, but like I always just like thought about it. And I was like, oh my God, I'm fully gonna die in Canada. My mom's not even here. And like my mom's like the person that I could be like, yo, like what the fuck is that?
Yeah.
But then I went to my grandma and she was just like, and then she just like handed me products, and then like we like literally did not even talk about it. She just like gave me a product and I was like, what the fuck? And then I remember like Google was my best friend. Like I was on the internet like WebMD, like am I dying kind of situation. Like fully thought I had like some kind of disease or something. But yeah, then I called my mom and she was like, yeah, no, it's your period. And I was like, okay. But then like I went back to school because it was like the summer, and then like they started talking more about periods during health class, and then I was like, oh.
I got that. Do you ever talk to your dads about periods?
No, but my dad does buy my mom tampons and pads.
August
my dad's
tampons?
a simp.
Nice.
Yes. But before, like, no. But, like, now they're, like, August. Like,
my dad's
but
a
my,
simp.
my dad is a simp. Yeah, he buys my mom tampons and pads.
Do you talk to your dad about periods?
Yeah, he's pretty funny about it. Like, my dad, if you scroll way back, is in, like, 2 or 3 TikToks, which I had to, like, beg him to be in, and I'm trying to get him in on more.
With the Christmas tree?
Yeah, we have one of, I put a glittery tampon in our Christmas tree, like as an ornament, and I put it in the tree and I just filmed my friends, my dad's reactions, and he's in that TikTok. But this past year, when I went home for Christmas, I didn't get to come home till later because I moved out here. And I went home and I looked at the tree, and my dad had hung that tampon up again.
Oh, it's so cute.
And then I was like, Dad, what's this? And he's like, well, you know, it's like really special to you and like, you know, your friends.
That's so
cute. Oh, Dad, that's so cute. And also
sweet.
just like, he's in a girl club. Like, it's my dad's girlfriend, his daughter, it's me. We're all like, talking to him about periods all the time. So he's in on the program. At first he'd be like, la la la, and leave. And now he's like, what's up?
Yeah,
what's going on?
we love that. For all of our listeners, maybe we should talk a little bit about like what we actually do at August. You know, I think we're not just making TikToks and talking into microphones all day. This is our first time doing it. So for me, this is Nadia speaking, and as CEO, I would say that Nick and I definitely split our roles in doing a lot more managerial and overseeing 2 different sides of the company. So anything operationally, Nick as COO really handles that. So product, supply chain, a lot of the financial components, and like the systems of designing August. And for me, like I think a lot of people see me online and they think I spend all day on social media, but I really only spend like 2-3 hours, and the majority of my day is phone calls. And for me, I'm focusing a lot more on like the marketing side. And so I work a lot with Neddy and Sam here as our kind of HQ creative team. But I would say that like, you know, we aren't a typical company where like we have a very standard job description, and it's kind of bit us in the ass sometimes, because I think every now and then we'll do these checks and people are like, yeah, I'm not really sure what my job is. We just kind of do whatever's needed. And so I remember like Nettie, I think a few months in, you were like, can we just clarify what my role is? And so we rewrote your job description. And I think that it is kind of like what the first few months of August, or the first year of August was like figuring out what actually needed to get done. And like I wasn't even a TikTok creator when we started this company. So I think that like that was an unexpected thing, and there's so many twists and turns with August, and like even on how we were going to deal with influencers, right? And I think that a lot of our roles have definitely shifted as we figured out what's needed. But I would say on a day-to-day, you know, as CEO, I'm doing a lot of kind of content, but also like high level strategy on the marketing and brand side. How Nick and I like to explain it is like Nick is internal, so like internal management, operation systems, and I'm more like external. So any visuals you see, or like, you know, even from web to press, like I really try to do my best to oversee it. And I work very closely with Neddy as well.
Before I get into my own role, I feel like I need to describe how I've seen Nadia pump out TikToks, because I've never seen anyone do this before. Like, we'll be on the way to Hot Pot for dinner. She'll just pull out her phone, pull out this one folder with all of her like B-roll videos, and she can voice over like 6 in a row before we even hit the restaurant. So if you think she's sitting there editing all these TikToks, it just comes as such second nature. She'll be like, I have a cool 5 minutes. Boom, boom, boom. It's 3 in a row. She's not spending any time.
That's a fact.
On these. She just like, you just get it. Some people get TikTok and some people don't, and Nadia gets it. I have to like actually think about it. So I am the content director here at August. Again, like you said, I actually cannot explain my job. It's anything even remotely related to content. I have somehow had my fingies in it. So I'm like writing copy for the website, redesigning where we want pictures to go. It's a little bit of the articles on Ask August with Sam. It's social media. It's like captions. It's everything. 2 weeks ago, I had to learn how to code Narvar to put like shipping emails together. I think like one thing that August has kind of taught me to do is like, I don't think I have hit a wall yet. And every time we do hit a wall where we're like, oh, we don't have someone who can do that, I am on YouTube watching tutorials or just figuring it out. I feel like I've kind of fallen into this little bit of a fixer role where if we're like, oh man, like emails, we need marketing emails. I'm like, I'll figure it out. I'll just go make it happen. So anything with content that we don't really have a full-time staff member on team for, I'll figure it out. That's what I do.
Yeah. But you're also underselling yourself because you're doing so much more on like high level creative too.
Yeah,
and I think like designing, you know, truly becoming a graphic designer and like photo editor too, I would say. But you also are like managing team too, like Ruby, and a lot of anything you see on social, I feel like in some way was directed by you very directly.
I also never thought I would be on TikTok ever. I kind of like the anonymity of being able to post on August for August and not have to post anything myself. I don't have any accounts, so no one can ever find me. It's kind of fun to just exist on August social as like this random anonymous person. So that's been really fun.
You've also been like a stand-in model. Like the first time we ever met, I think you had worked like 6 months at August maybe before we met in person, because you were in Seattle before you went to New York, and we met in Portland, Oregon for our first product shoot. And I remember we were like, we need like a couple more butts, you know, like to wear this underwear and show the pad. And so I was like, I'll be a butt. Oh yeah.
I don't know it's my butt.
But we like, anyways, in some of the photography, I don't even think those photos were ever posted, but
they're around.
Nettie and my butt were stand-in butts, like headless, you know, not our heads were cropped out. But you know, I think we've all been stand-in models, you know. Yeah. But Sam, what about you? What's your day-to-day?
I think I handle a lot of like the partnerships and collaborations, like all those emails come to me. And then also working with Nadia on press and like our influencers and shoots and kind of like all the kind of creative stuff. Now my new job is Ask August. So like learning Contentful and doing the blog with Neddy, which Neddy is like...
Explain what Contentful is.
It's the trenches.
It is
y'all.
the trenches. I'm still figuring out. I still always do like it's so tedious, but it's basically the platform where we upload our blogs. Like we upload our blog onto Contentful and then it uploads onto our website, if that makes any sense.
Yes, it's the back end way.
Yeah,
it's
the
like
back
an
end way.
Coding thing. It's supposed to be easy for people that don't code to like edit.
But it's not.
But it's not easy, and we suffer on it every day.
I always like publish it and then I go on the website and then it's just the photo and I'm like, all right, fuck. Like, and then Neddy's like, Sam, you missed listicle, and I'm like, fuck, like, damn it.
But also sometimes I feel like you post it and then we're like, yeah, it's kind of up there, but just wait maybe like 5 minutes. We just gotta wait it out.
But then it's like a whole day.
Yeah. But then it just shows up, and like it wasn't anything we did wrong. It just like needs time.
Yeah. But yeah, I think that's like most of what I do.
I think it's like anything that's related to like a shoot or like creative production. I remember when we were trying to, you know, collaboratively come up with your title, it was like, what's something that was like creative but, you know, bringing things together?
Yeah.
And it was like, oh, creative producer.
Yeah, because it was like communications at first, and we're like, I don't know if this makes sense.
Well, and it's also like at the beginning, we thought we were going to do a lot of influencer collaborations.
Yeah.
And then it just didn't make sense. It was like too much money, and like we did it.
A lot of trial and error.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Mostly error, but a lot of trial
and error. I would say, I think that the biggest misconception about August is like, people think that we are like this big corporation, and Nettie, you can speak more to this of like the DMs we get and stuff. But I mean, part of the reason why we were excited about this podcast is like we get asked a lot by like our community members, but also just like strangers about like, what is it like behind the scenes, right? Because I think we seem very organized. But in the reality, like, we're not alone in this. Most startups are kind of a mess. Like, in a good way, it's like organized chaos, right? Where, you know, no startup is built the same way. There's no perfect business plan. And naturally, when you're trying to build a business differently, that's even more true, right? And so I think that it's like part of why we were excited to do this podcast was like, you hear, like, this is just how we are, and we're all kind of figuring things out. And this is the first time like y'all are recording a podcast too. So try
bear
new
with
things.
us.
But Nettie, how do you hear like misconceptions about August, like on social?
It's a little bit, I think also if we had Elena or Chesley here from like customer care, they could kind of speak on this too, where I think that it's very easy for, you know, let's say there's a shipping delay on your product. Of course, that's very upsetting. So you send an email and you're like, well, where is it? Like, you're obviously angry, you've been waiting for your thing. But like, being a smaller business, like, we don't have the money or the funds to kind of like upgrade shipping during heavy shopping times like Christmas and Black Friday. So we kind of get like, as a startup, pushed down to the lower shipping category.
Right.
So we got screwed last year pretty bad. Like, during Black Friday, we had a lot of new people come in and want to like be subscribers of August, and we had a lot of backlash for like, why is this taking so long? Why is no one getting back to my emails? Because it's us. It's all of us. It would take 2 hours every day to email you back, try and hunt down all your packages. We had like thousands of orders coming in, and like, we're really, really doing our best to like be there. But also, I think that people are expecting there to be this huge kind of like system in place, when in reality it's 8 of us. Mm-hmm. And
6 of us then.
No, 6 of us then.
6 of us, yeah.
So it was just kind of interesting. I feel like that's when we started trying to like post more TikToks and content about like, hey, this is behind the scenes, because I think we needed to really like humanize our brand and be like, we're just like 6 groups of 6 people, 6 Gen Z people trying to like get you this like awesome period care to the best of our ability. But at that time too, we were still very much learning, setting up our customer care system, learning how to respond to all of your emails correctly and like quickly, and how to even find your packages. We've since upgraded our shipping. Like, it was just this whole mess, and it was a huge learning curve for us, but it was just kind of like interesting to see people, the moment we responded like, hey, it's Neddy from TikTok, you've seen me, like, I'm fine, I'm gonna personally hunt down your package, and see this kind of flip of like, oh, my bad, I didn't mean to like come across as mean, like, I know you, I see you, I'm really happy that you're helping me out. Like, that was a really cool turn to kind of see of like, once people knew who was behind August, they are more understanding of like little things like that when they go wrong, but also kind of like, I don't know, I really want to humanize the brand. I want people to know us. I don't want people to ever DM us and be like, well, I'll get back to you in 4 to 6 business days. Like, it's like, no, hey, it's Nettie. You know me from TikTok. I'm going to find your package,
hey,
I promise. Like, hey, bestie. Like, we're not joking when we send all that stuff out.
Yeah.
Like, we're very, very genuine about these things. So I'm excited to have the podcast. Like, you guys can ask us questions directly now. Like, if we're having a shipping issue, like, freaking ask us about it. DM us. Like, we don't delete any DMs or comments. We respond to literally everything.
Or we try to.
No, we do.
Yeah.
We've never let a DM go, like, ever.
No, I'm saying comments. Like, viral TikToks.
Viral TikToks, those get away from us. But, like, DMs, if you have, like, a DM, like, we answer literally all of them, no matter how long it takes. So we want to be there for you. It's not like a joke.
Within work hours, because
we're
doing a lot of work. Actually, we're doing a lot of work within the company to try to make sure that nobody's overworking, because I think we all get so excited about the work too, and there's so much to get done. And so I think that's also been a trial and error thing of like, how much does something actually take, right? Like, everybody takes a different amount of time to like respond to customer care. Every week looks different. And so this is actually a very special week, because we're doing our first ever Mindfulness Friday, where it's like the optional work day where you don't have to work, you can deep work, there's no calls. So
drinks.
Yeah, drinks. I'm really curious to know from both of you, like how do people react to you working at August? Like, you know, maybe first date example. Like, if you go on a first date and you say like, oh, how do you describe August?
On a first date?
Or just like with someone
I
you know.
have a funny story for this later. You go first, Sam.
So, I don't know. I would just say I work for a period care brand, and I work like creative. I don't know. I've never had anyone like, ugh, what the fuck? Like, I've never had anyone do that. They're just like, oh, like, what do you do? And then I tell them what I do, and then they're like,
oh, cool.
Yeah. I feel like also, like, a lot of the people that I talk to about August, they've seen me somewhere on TikTok or, like, somewhere, even though, like, I'm not really, like, my face is not too much on TikTok, but, like, I have had people, like, send me it, and they're like, is this you? And I'm like,
this you?
Yeah, it is.
You're also, like, our hoodie model.
You are.
That's true.
You're the hoodies.
That's true. So, like, people see me, and they're like...
And you pad photos, too, with your tooth gem.
Yeah. But, like, I feel like also, like, we're all close friends now. So, like, a lot of my friends, like, know, like, yeah, like, we're coworkers, but, like, we're also close friends. Like, hey, I'm getting drinks with Nadia and Neddy. And it's like, oh, yeah, that's, like, you work with those people. So it's, like, I don't know. I feel like everyone, like, knows already.
Yeah.
But no one's like, ugh, what the fuck? Like, you know.
Have you had that?
I had okay. So you...
I'm so excited for this.
Yeah. Is it a date?
No, it was kind of a date. I was at the bars with this guy, and he was like, what do you do? And I, like, talked about August a little bit, and then he, like, his eyes start to go wide, and he's like, oh my god, that's the girl that has her tampon on TikTok, like, referring to Nadia. And then he started to be like, yeah, I don't know, I just don't think I could really handle it. Like, went on this weird, like, misogynist rant about periods, and then I was like, oh, I do that too, like, on the TikTok page, like, I'm on there too. And I, like, gave him the @ and everything, and I, like, pulled up my videos and all that, and he was, like, really weirdly off-put by it, but I was like, honestly, that's a good ick in the beginning to get, and, like, a red flag.
Yeah,
like, if you're
get him
gross,
away.
yeah, get him away. But that was the first time where I literally, like, described it to, like, a dude at the bar, and they were like, oh my god, like, I know what you're talking about, and I've seen it on, like, social media. I was like, I don't know if, like, people should be posting periods online. And I was like, oh, well, that's actually everything that we do.
Yeah.
And you're the person who we're trying to, like, have reassess their ideals here. And then he just kind of, like, quietly, like, walked away, and I was like, well, honestly, for the best.
Yeah, I have people like send me Nadia's videos, and it's like her with her discharge like this, and they're like, this your boss? And I'm like, yeah, that's my boss. That's my boss, and I'm gonna stand behind her. Like,
it's so funny. So I live with my boyfriend, and every now and then he'll hear me, like, from the other room say, hey y'all, I know you don't like this, but here's my discharge, and you just hear him laughing in the back of the TikToks. So I really do that, and especially before I get my period. Anyways, we could talk literally forever about all the ways people react to our content and everything, but overall, you know, most of these episodes we are going to be bringing in guests and, you know, experts and doctors who can really talk to us about, you know, getting the answers to our biggest pressing questions. But this episode, we just wanted to answer our, you know, first community members question, and just introduce ourselves a little bit and give you a little taste of what the vibe of the period feels is going to be. So once again, you're listening to, okay, ready? The Period Feels! And we'll be back every Tuesday with a new episode. Make sure you join our inner cycle, or, you know, get to us on social media to send us in your question, because we're so excited to feature all of your voices. Bye, y'all.